Hi everyone, it's Ethan McKinley and welcome to the 2 Minute Terminators, where we break down the Terminator films 2 minutes at a time. It is in fact episode 6, which is not what I've written on my notes on the computer, so don't say anything else, even though I've just dropped the ball there and told everyone. We are here with the inimitable, the great, the amazing Steele Saunders, stand-up comedian extraordinaire, and of course presenter and producer of the Steele Wars podcast, the popular, probably the most popular podcast on Star Wars, I would have thought. Steele, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, you guys. I think you might be caught up in the UK ratings. We rate very high in the UK for some reason.
Oh, really?
But America's the tough one. It's tough to get up in that top 100. Well, it's rarefied air to get into that top 100.
Well, I think you need some sex-related podcasts, isn't it? There's a show called Guys We Fucked, which gets like 250,000 downloads and listens, and it's kind of a brand new show.
Yeah, but
and whenever we've had a sex-related title, it's always been ridiculous numbers.
I would be interested to know the audience that are listening to that.
I would imagine mostly men trying to get the skinny on chicks.
No, but I can't imagine listening to two girls, and I don't have the greatest opinion of females, but just listening to two females talking potentially about guys they've fucked, like that is going to be.
Well, no,
so
I mean,
dull.
the interview, a lot of kind of like, I guess, female comedians and actors.
Do you not think, though, that it would be so much more entertaining having a podcast listening to two
think...
guys talking about chicks they'd fucked?
Well, they do.
I would like to hear that other podcast just to see how I did.
Yeah. See, this is the thing, still. After we do the Terminator, I just want me and Ethan to be able to just talk whatever. And so I think it was in the second season, T2.
It became more about our sex
lives.
It was
in the basically all about my weird failing sex life.
Yeah, I don't know. Guys we fucked. Sequels that are fucked. It's the same thing. It's the same genre.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, before we bury the lead, when I approached Steele listeners to do this show about Terminator Genesis, he started with "fuck that movie," so I think we're going to be in for a treat.
Yay!
So,
but we're watching. The bit that we're watching is like this was when I was full of hope.
I know, same.
Well, these are the bits that work. But before we get into the show, I'm going to say to Steele, as we say with all our minute guests, would you like to say hit the music, Steele?
I actually love the music. I love your theme song. So yes, hit that music.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I think this guy's a couple cans short of a six-pack.
Howdy, stranger.
Don't say howdy, stranger to me.
Load up.
You didn't do the fourth. Thank God. It sucked. Yeah, it sucked.
Okay, we're back. Yes, of course, we are here. If you've just tuned in and decided to skip the first minute of the show, who would do that? We don't have commercials. We are here with 2 Minute Terminator with the amazing, the wonderful, the hilarious Steele Saunders. I'm Ethan McKinley. My co-host, of course, is the anti-feminist Terminator, Ellie Fitzgerald.
Hey!
Hey! And we're talking about, I guess, as we said before the credits, the most hopeful 2 minutes probably, or one of them.
It's probably because it just depicts what happens in the beginning
of the
first film.
A bit like, as we discussed with Back to the Future minute, it kind of repeats the ethos of Back to the Future 2, where they kind of go back into the first movie from a slightly different angle.
And we also get a glimpse of a naked CGI curtain-wearing hair.
They're not curtains, they're bangs. Do you see bangs in America?
No, bangs is a fringe. He's got curtains.
He's got his little, alright.
No.
Oh, wow. When you were describing that, I was getting hard. That was amazing.
Arnold's bangs.
I'm very aroused.
Oh, wow.
So is Ethan. He's got no fucking hair.
Hey, I've got to say up front, I'm sorry that I missed the original recording.
That's okay.
I felt horribly about that. From someone that's recorded so many podcasts, and when someone cancels out on you, it's just like, oh, you're killing me.
Steele, I'm not going to lie. Your name was
Steele.
mud for a good day. No, I'm joking. I was like,
no, that's fine. I deserve it.
We'll give him one more chance, the bastard.
No, not at all. I mean, it was actually my fault, because I assumed you were 13 hours ahead when we're actually, you're 9 hours ahead. So I just completely got it messed up. So I was like ready to record on Saturday. You're like, it's the wrong day, you dickhead.
So yeah, actually, technically, it was Ethan's cock up.
And then it was obviously Father's Day on Sunday for you. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
I know, it's my project. Yeah, because you said it was like Sunday night, so I was just like, yeah, as if I'm going to be doing anything on a Sunday night. And I didn't equate in, it was Australian Father's Day last week. But
you should have done it live from there with everyone just pitching in.
That's so weird. So do different countries have different days for like Father's and Mother's Day?
Yeah, it's probably a conspiracy. So some psychopaths will just celebrate every single one throughout the year if they're really into their dads.
Yeah, I think Mother's Day's...
We all are a little bit.
Mother's Day in America is the same as Australia, but Father's Day's different.
Oh, I wonder why.
Who knows? But we all celebrate New Year's on the same day, except in China.
Well then,
the
international party language.
Steele, how is it? You'd say people miss matching times and podcasts being cancelled. You obviously know this pain because the way you talk about it. How is it when you do Steele Wars? So, talk about that for a while. What was the prompting to do Steele Wars, your Star Wars podcast?
Well, I did another podcast first, which still goes. It's called I Love Green Guide Letters, and it's like a pretty popular comedy podcast here. We you guys do the 2 minutes at a time. This is I love bizarre ideas for podcasts. My one, I Love Green Guide Letters, is we review the complaint letters to the TV Guide in Melbourne, and
oh my god, that's
and
amazing.
what we try to do is get the people that are getting complained about to come on the show and respond and like a bunch of my comedian friends and lucky enough a bunch of my comedian friends do get complained about in the newspaper. So
I was going to say how willing or how reticent
complained
are these
about
people?
or reviewed badly, or is that the same thing?
Well, not like stand-up, but like a lot of them are like TV presenters and stuff. So it's... But the thing is, the gist with why people come on to hear these complaints about themselves is that if you're watching television and you see something that you don't like and your response is, I'm going to write a complaint letter to the TV Guide, well, you're probably a moron and it's going to be really fun to hear your complaint.
Exactly. No, we love it. Ethan is the biggest fan of disgruntled people. Ethan's basically a troll. He will write the most controversial...
I think trolling gets a bad name though, because I think people now, the way people say conspiracy theorists kind of shut down any dissenting opinion of something. People now say troll as if it's a bad thing, where I think I like to satirically highlight things. I don't say awful things in a kind of...
Yeah, but but there are some things where you will literally just say something so that you set Facebook on fire.
I sometimes take a position in an argument I don't necessarily agree with, just to see the...
Still, I'm not saying I agree with like domestic violence or violence against women at all. But I sent Ethan this meme, which was a couple of years ago now, and it depicted this woman sat on the floor crying, and you can kind of see a guy in the foreground
with the iron fist of man.
This fist there, and it just says on the top,
women deserve
women deserve equal rights and equal lefts. Which I thought was absolutely hilarious. And then Ethan posted it on Facebook underneath a picture of a load of girls that he used to fuck. And then literally...
How's their podcast going?
Literally. And everyone just jumped in and was like, Ethan's evil! Did you get banned from posting anything for like 30 days?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was,
probably for the best.
Facebook's very crazy though, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been banned. I've had so many bans.
Yeah.
And it must have been such a bummer because tomorrow you had like a sweet bestiality meme to post.
Exactly. You can ban me for Facebook.
The other thing with how I missed last week, I've just been driving home from this little thing I was at, and I was catching up on the episodes, and then I ran out of episodes. Like mine was going to be like, this is going to be the next episode. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm late for the episode. Totally forgetting how on-demand audio works. Like it was like a live recording
shows,
or something.
don't you?
Sorry?
You do a live podcast, isn't it?
I do both. I do one live. The Steele Wars podcast has got two different shows. One's like an interview, like sort of like a comedy interview show where we interview fans and people that have been in the film and like creatives that have been inspired by Star Wars. And we try to keep it super funny. and then I do another one which is sort of more of a news show, but people can call in on Blog Talk Radio, which is super fun because people sort of, I don't know, just it's like a radio talkback, but just nerds talking about Star Wars.
I'd love that. See, we've always wanted that, but now it's bloody cool.
Well, I think the idea for our potential show after this would be something like Opie and Anthony. We talk about controversial things. Have you ever heard the Opie and Anthony show, Steele?
I have, yeah. A few of my friends are just like devoted.
It's so funny with Patrice O'Neill as well. He's just such a dude. God bless his soul. One question before we start going on onto this awesome film. Steele, Jim Jeffries, are you a fan?
Yeah. I've sat in his Maserati.
What? Oh my god! Have you shot the shit with Jim Jeffries?
I'm not like.
No,
I'm very vague acquaintances with him, but one of my friends, Nick, has toured with him a little bit. So we're all in LA one time, and we went and saw him at a gig, and then he went out and showed us these. I think it was a Maserati. I'm not really into cars, but it looked like it might transform into Megatron. So there you go.
Amazing. No, I really like him. His comedy is right up my street. Is he well received in Australia?
It's quite weird, Jim Jeffries. He's one of the people that didn't get much support when he was here, and then went overseas and killed it, and then got massive here, and then comes back and does all these interviews about like, fuck you, Melbourne International Comedy Festival. Like,
I don't need you anymore.
Yeah, which is sort of, because the comedy festival here, it's like such a big thing, and it's like the third biggest one in the world. But it's sort of like, if you're in with like the people that run it, you get, it's sort of like there's a bit of a haves and a haves not. So this dude is like selling out like one of the biggest, theaters in the country, and he I think he enjoys the fuck you, which is everyone. Everyone's dream is to. What is it? Is it did Michael Jordan? He got told he'd never be good at basketball, and then he sold 8 billion shoes.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that thing of fuck you. I did it. I've proved you all wrong.
I'm counting on it for my comedy career. I've done stand-up as well, Steele. Not to the obviously. How many years you been doing it?
About a decade. Yeah.
Oh, holy shit!
Nice.
How long do you think it took before you actually got good?
It fluctuates.
Okay.
Is that depending on how many weird and obscene things have happened to you in your lifetime that you can then recount on stage?
Yeah,
well, it's sort of sometimes it's like, hey, it took me 4 years to get good, and then other nights it's like, I've been at this for 8 years. When am I going to get good? Like, it's there's different levels of good.
Okay.
But I'm trying to write a new show, like sort of about Star Wars, and kind of how enthusiasm. Like I found last year doing the podcast about Star Wars, like leading up to The Force Awakens, was I just like I'm a pretty cynical guy, and like Star Wars sort of took that away. Like I'm less cynical when I'm talking about Star Wars, and I don't know, just the way my enthusiasm for the movie affected other people. I found it very bizarre. Like it was too much positivity for me. So I'm still dealing with all this positivity.
I know, dude.
What did you think of The Force Awakens?
Totally
I thought it was pretty great. I think the first half is one of the best halves of Star Wars ever, and then things get a bit patchy in the second half. Like great moments, but I mean from a very nerdy, everything making sense point of view.
Yeah. I think also, I think them killing Han was a mistake. Not necessarily they could kill him, of course, but maybe in the next film, when the characters had time to breathe and he meets Luke, it just seemed really like it was telegraphed from the start. You could see what was going to happen, and it was, I don't know, it just seemed really badly done, I think.
Oh, you thought the death was badly done?
Yeah, because you could see it coming a mile off. I also had a problem with how Adam Driver got his giant horse face into that tiny Kylo Ren helmet. Just little niggly things like that, and the way like Ray knew kind of everything and fly the Falcon. I think Harrison Ford should have been introduced then, and he should have flown them off Jakku. That would have been his hero moment, and that weird, creepy Guardians of the Galaxy rip-off middle 10-minute section with the Rathtars and that weird Scottish boy who was about 13. How is he a foil for the world's galaxy's greatest space smuggler? It was just kind of strange. It was just these characters got to a certain place in Jedi, then Han Solo is back to being essentially a thief and a smuggler. He's lost his wife. His son has become the new Hitler, and yeah, it just seemed like a really odd thing, and they didn't kind of fully commit to it, and then they just killed him. It was just kind of strange. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just had a bit of an issue with that.
I think the death was like the Raftar thing. I didn't mind it. It was when they rolled. Then it was just like, what is this
Guardians.
Star Trek bullshit?
Yeah.
But I thought the death was fine, and I also think the real life reasons behind the death. Do you know what I mean? Like seriously, I would have bet a lot of money 5 years ago that Harrison Ford would never appear in a Star Wars film ever again. I would have like bet a fucking shitload, and to have him come back and be a part of it, and through that you can watch this on YouTube. I got to interview him for a TV like a morning show here, and he was in great spirits, and it was fucking intense to meet him. Like it was like gravity was changing. It was crazy.
I actually saw him once. I was in London. I was on this march, this anonymous march, and
Bleeding liberal.
we walked up to the Queen's house, and
You mean Buckingham Palace?
yeah, the Queen's gaff.
Up at Queen's joint.
And at the Queen, exactly. And as we were walking up, all of a sudden the gates opened. This big car pulled out and really slowly drove past me. The window was down, and I've looked in, and it was fucking Harrison Ford. So I've just pointed, I've just gone, Harrison! And he's just looked at me, kind of done an awkward smile, and then the driver just pulled off.
No
said
shit.
Dennis Quaid with AIDS.
If the window was open,
guy-
I would have done like a running dive into the window.
I should have, but I think I was just so shocked. And then there was this gay guy that came up behind me and went, oh my god, was that Richard Gere? And I went, no, that was not Richard Gere.
Could have just said it was a guy that came up to you, you bigot.
How was he to deal
He
with,
was
Harrison, when you were
massively
interviewing him? Was it? You said gravity changed. Was it difficult to kind of keep your eye on the ball and ask questions without going, Harrison Ford?
Well, it was really intense because it was like a red carpet thing. So it was like we only found out we were going to get questions with him just beforehand. And it was like, you've got 2 minutes, 2 questions, and I've got this giant, TV camera in my face, and it everything about it was intense. And I knew he'd done interviews all day, and I was determined to make him laugh for one.
Yeah.
And ask him a question that he maybe hadn't been heard that day. And also I also wanted to make a good segment for the TV show that I was working for, and I just knew the people that had on the show on Steele Wars, people sort of followed me on the way to seeing this film, and when we watch when a new trailer comes out, I'll watch it for the first time on the podcast sort of thing, and so people were sort of caught up in that, and I knew that I had all these listeners that would be rooting for me as well. So it was just I can't think of any more pressure. He's I worked out him and Jerry Seinfeld would be the most intimidating people for me and what I love to talk to. Like Mark Hamill, he's my favorite, but he seems way more fan-friendly.
Yeah, affable and down to earth.
And I'm also, just to plug the Steele Wars, I'm mates with his son, Nathan, and we just did a really good podcast with Nathan Hamill about what's it like to grow up as a Star Wars fan when Luke Skywalker's actually your dad. It's a fascinating little chat.
Yeah, Ethan did Ethan's got another podcast called Fashionable, and you actually interviewed Bobby Fett, didn't you?
Yeah, I did Jeremy Bullock, but I kind of like you, Steele. I think I steered. I think he was appreciative of that. I think I steered away from Star Wars. We did about 10-20 minutes on it, but then we just talked about his career working through the 70s, what it was like in London and stuff, and then like how things are now. And he was an old rat. He's also obviously most famous for essentially being an extra in a costume, masked.
Yeah.
And not having any lines of dialogue, because Jason, is it Wingard, I think, did the voice of Boba Fett, the real voice of Boba Fett in the film. But no, it was really great. I don't know, have you know, with your podcast, do you get people just dropping out at the last minute, or when you'll speak to someone directly on Twitter, like a famous person, they'll say yes, they'll agree to come on, and then their secretary will get in the middle of us and kind of like it will
shut
just
down all of the.
It's getting really difficult to
all
try and
the
do
avenues.
shows and stuff at the moment, because I'm averaging about 2 a month. I'm trying to do like 1 a week, but it's like these like gatekeepers, if you will. I know this as an actor. I started doing podcasting to get away from these kind of people deciding if you're worthy or not to do podcasting, and I'm kind of like slipping back into it. I don't know. Do you find that with Steel Wars sometimes? Or any of the other stuff you do?
I've never had like that sort of gatekeeper thing. I've had it.
It's usually when a secretary or an assistant gets in the middle of us and they kind of fuck up the pudding, if you will.
Yeah, because you were going to get Kelly LeBrock, weren't you?
Yeah, from Weird Science.
Oh,
Well,
really?
Yeah. I was down to it with her personally, then her assistant came in between us, and then after the waters got all of a sudden very muddy. But I'm going to try again, we'll keep trying.
Keep trying. Live the dream.
Yeah, I've never had that. I've had people say they'll do it and then just not reply to the email ever.
Oh, no.
And
Because you were going to be, who's that comedian that got massively, like, Schwartz listed because he beat up his girlfriend?
Oh God, which one?
Justin Lee Collins.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were, like, having chats with him loads, and then
He
kept
did bring
saying
back
that he
Star
was
Wars.
gonna-
That's a great show if you've not seen it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
First
Yeah.
At the start. Yeah, him basically. But I think he had this drunken rage recording, a bit like Mel Gibson.
We love you, Crazy Mel.
We love Crazy Mel.
fuck Mel Gibson. Fuck that bigot. He can get.
You should
fuck
just
off.
smile and blow me.
Have you heard the tapes, still?
What a
Yes.
fucking God-fearing piece of shit.
Oh my god, they're so funny.
He's doing a sequel to The Passion of the Christ, I guess, because he lost half the money in the divorce. So he's doing a sequel, isn't he? Like, Jesus is back.
Jesus is back with a vengeance.
That's what it's called.
Oh my god.
Jesus is back, Passion 2.
Right, shall we get to the film?
I swear to God, Steele, Mel Gibson is doing a sequel to The Passion of the Christ. I'm not even kidding. I found out last week and nearly like gave myself a herniated disc laughing.
What's the sequel? What? Like?
I guess he comes back after the 3 days.
Oh,
maybe?
so it's like
Yeah.
Easter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm guessing so.
Easter Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It drives me insane the way people get accepted back in because there's cash to be made. It's, oh man.
Well, I mean, he financed the first one himself, didn't he? That's why he made all that nearly like 800 million, almost $1 billion in bankroll for himself, because he financed The Passion himself.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. But if only,
So I guess he's got enough money to redo it.
if
But,
only he could go back time and change what happened and what he said. That's my segue to talk
know.
about
I
Terminator.
swear- Okay.
Awesome. Yes, anyway. So,
Anyway, 23 minutes in lessons, thank you. We do this for all the shows though. We kind of have a get to know you period and we swing back and forth between the franchises and then we mix them up.
back and forth and forth.
Oh.
Ethan, what are the bookmarks to this particular
Can I have to bring this up. I was
Yes.
listening to one of the episodes and Ellie's like talking about if a dog could sniff a Terminator. Like, I don't think the dog would.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Ellie, here's the deal. There is
Yeah.
robots, right? Self-aware robots covered in human flesh so they can travel back in time and change the future. Who gives a fuck if a dog could smell it or not? Like, I don't know
I'm trying
what
to pick holes in this shitty fucking
I don't know what
movie.
parts of reality you want to take on this, but let's give the K9 a pass.
There's only so much content sometimes that you can have in 2 minutes for these terrible films. So,
If a
the
dog can
sniffing,
smell
that was
cocaine,
a
it can
poignant
smell
moment for me.
Schwarzenegger. No, I'm not saying anything. That I'm not implying anything.
By the way, Steele, on the same subject as Schwarzenegger, have you seen his kind of like non-official Mexican son doing that recreation of Terminator 2 yet? Joseph Bina Schwarzenegger, the product of the affair with the nanny, the 10-year affair with the nanny. He's got like that giant amorphous pituitary gland head, but he looks like a Mexican Arnold. He looks actually more like Arnold than, I guess, the official son, who's Patrick Schwarzenegger.
Where is this film going to be screened? On Funny or Die?
No, I'm not sure if he's made it to kind of like gussy himself up in social media or give himself like, say, I exist, don't cast me as the kind of the Scarlet Woman child. But he's done this like 2-minute interstitial where he kind of comes out to Bad to the Bone by George Thorogood, gets on the Harley, the guy comes up, can't let you take the man's wheel, son, and he takes the glasses and he just drives off. It's that bit, it's that like 1 or 2 minutes that he's recreated. I don't know why, and it's... Is it any good, Ali?
No.
Wow. I thought we were wasting a lot of time
you.
talking about 2 minutes of Terminator 4 or 5.
Right.
We should do a special episode on that movie.
Hey, so did you guys do Terminator 4?
Oh, we've done all of
Fifth
it.
season. I started off with I assumed wrongfully. I thought because Terminator Genesis is coming out last year with all these minute shows, I thought it will be in the lexicon of the language again. People start thinking about Terminator. I thought we'd get like this almost weekly, the Weekly Planet numbers of like 102, like 1 million downloads. Steele, I was wrong.
Weekly
Terminator
Planet
Genesis
level.
bombed.
Yeah, right.
I know, this guy.
It's one of my favourite shows. That's kind of
I
how I
agreed to
like
do this so
cooked
that
into
Ethan
you.
could practice podcasting. I had no idea that it was actually gonna...
It was that reason. It was the osmosis of like learning the equipment, having to have the pressure of doing a show every day, and because it was Terminator, I thought I kind of like Terminator. I love Terminator too. Let's do Terminator. Boy, that was a sword of Damocles.
I thought you did it because you knew I loved it.
I do love it, but I think 3 is like a parody of itself. It's
3
not good.
is just the biggest pile of wank that was ever released on cinema.
The 4th one is kind
I
of
hate
like
it so much.
the colour palette's wrong. Christian Bale ruins it. They twist the twist ending they threw
Moonface
out.
is an absolute
I-
knob.
Moonface, Bloodgood.
I didn't mind Terminator 4.
It's not as bad as 3.
Still, get out.
I did watch it very
Terminator 4
hungover,
is
which I
that Mel
think
Gibson?
improves a film. like a bad sci-fi film is great to watch on a plane or hungover.
Or during chemotherapy treatment.
But do you have
They
much
left the tumour, but they left the film playing.
do you have much interaction with like the Terminator fan community, or are you guys like not
I
respecting
tried
them?
to connect us with the official, I guess, the Terminator fans page, and I posted that we're doing a show, and it was we love your site, and we get lots of trivia off it, and they blocked us.
No shit.
No
Yeah.
shit. And this is in the first season when we were kind of quite serious and down the line and just talking about the film without kind of attempting to be funny and
Although
stuff.
I was so rubbish because I had no idea what I was doing.
We were both rubbish, darling. And we're
Yeah,
better now.
but boy, have you improved. Now, but do you have Terminator fans like, is it more like minute fans of like the minute genre of podcast, or do you get Terminator fans?
I think it's more Terminator fans.
Yeah, Terminator fans, and since like I think we were the first minute out of the gate. It was Star Wars Minute. I decided, so I'll do this because no one else is doing it. And then like you got Jaws Minute, you got Clueless Minute, Wrath of Khan minutes.
We're the black sheep because we do 2 minutes as opposed to 1.
Only based on the pun of 2-minute Terminator as opposed to So
I'm so glad we didn't do 1 minute.
Well, the thing
I'm still
about
on
how
3
all
now.
these other ones do a minute, like what the Star Wars Minute guys, like Star Wars is so rich. Like every scene, there's so much in the background,
Yeah.
and like even I watched.
the toys,
And I watched like
the
a
books, everything, yeah.
like an original print, like that had been scanned or something, but it was like called the Grindhouse version. You could see all like grains and stuff of Return of the Jedi, and I watched it projected the other night at a friend's house, and I was seeing people in the background of Jabba's palace that I'd never seen before. This is just this random old Asian dude just hanging out, and it's so dense. And then, like with, like Terminator 5 or whatever, I like calling them by the numbers. And like, there's just not that level of density of information. So I thought you just did the 2 minute out of a moment of clarity.
Just to get it done quickly. Well, it was a happy accident, and I'm glad we did it because we'd still be. I mean, it'll be 2 years in about 4 or 5 months.
We've been doing this.
And we're going to do the Sarah Connor Chronicles because I'm a psychopath completist, and I'd rather just see this thing through to the end. But yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Alien Minute is quite rich because you've got toys, you've got 4 films, you've got books and a lore attached to it, unlike fan sites. The other ones, Indiana Jones as well, of course, Back to the Future maybe, but like you said, I think it might be a grind or a struggle. I think there's Clueless Minute, which I haven't seen. It's a great film, but I haven't seen it for like 20 years. You've got Airport Minute, which I barely remember. I've seen Airport 77, I think. But yeah, it's interesting. We're going to do Clueless Minute actually later this afternoon, so I'm interested I've asked you what the pull is, obviously, with the franchises they've chosen with their minute shows. Because yeah,
I was thinking with Clueless Minute, it'd be brutal if you got issued one that didn't have Alicia Silverstone in it. But I guess that's every scene, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about her on I Love Green Guide Letters the other day, and about no one else would believe me that she chews up food in her mouth and then spits it in her kid's mouth.
Like a baby bird, does she really?
Yeah, she's out there. Alicia Silverstone. Very alternate parenting.
Oh, Gwyneth Paltrow, steam your vagina kind of thing.
I don't know how that's going to help your parenting, but that's...
Ethan should never be allowed near children anyway.
The babies slide out with greater ease. No, Gwyneth Paltrow's got this thing she came up with on her I'm Better Than You, Everybody, and How to Live website. I forgot what it's called. But what she did an article on steaming your vagina is good for you, and loads of gynecologists came out. That's absolutely not the thing you should do. You'll mess up the kind of the fauna and flora of your vagina, basically the environment. But she comes up with loads of crazy stuff. I love going to her site and checking all the wacky stuff she puts up. It's just bored, wealthy, East Side New York people.
She's fucking deluded.
Mate, you're fucking deluded, Gwyneth.
I think the gynecologist should shut up that it's not good for your vagina, because don't we want Gwyneth Paltrow to stop reproducing?
Yes.
Or have a busted vagina to keep the gynecologist in business.
She's just got constant sad face.
I bent my walkie.
You know when you're coming down and you've just got that bit of a... She's just constantly got sad face.
It's boredom.
It is.
Right, anyway, the 2 minutes that lead into this clip, everyone, thank you for staying with us. But we thought we'd do a meet and greet and a get to know you, as we always do with all the shows. We are, of course, here with Steele Saunders. If you only just joined us, why you will at this point, I have no idea. And, of course, Ellie Fitzgerald. The 2 minutes starts with Brett Azer, Arnold Schwarzenegger's very gay bodybuilding stunt double, wearing a digital Arnold mask, crouching onto the time displacement weapon. And it ends with, Arnold, of course, arriving on the other side of time in 1984, standing next to the LA Observatory in now a white-hot dish, which would burn his little feet. Steele, how are you?
I'm great. Now...
Excellent. What do you think of this clip, or the film in general?
Well, the clip I was originally going to do, I was sort of just whatever. This is not but this one, by the end of it, I'm because it ends with the T-800. Is it T-800? Am I right? Arnold.
The classic moment.
So he's beamed into 84, and then it stops, and then I was just the 2 minutes, these are a bloody good 2 minutes, I think. And I definitely was just fuck it, I gotta watch this movie again. I know I walked out of the film furious.
Did you?
I get angry, especially the end. Can we talk about the end of the whole film?
Of course
okay.
we can.
I just know on Star Wars Minute, they're very just whoa, don't, you've got your 1 minute. But I'm glad you're a lot more flexible. The end bit, how he goes and gives himself a flower or says hey to him, it's just what the fuck? It is that, it's that, did Tim Burton help you with the end of this film? You know how he did the Planet of the Apes and then they ended back on the planet that was like a human planet but with apes, and he goes, why do I have to explain stuff? Just take it in. And it's because it's a story and it should make sense. And that whole bit, how there's 2 timelines,
Steele despairs.
Yeah, I think it does go awry when they leave the 1984 section of the film for me. Yeah.
Oh, and just how they
It's
go,
kind of-
like, it's such a big thing. I'm angry now. Now, it's such a big thing to go through time. But then
Yes.
halfway through the film, there's just like, let's just jump around. And so,
Yeah, no, I completely
okay, but how
agree.
about this? So it's, what's his name? Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor, right? They go forward into the time.
Yeah.
So that means John Connor is going to be like 10 years younger. So
Yeah.
doesn't that just fuck everything up? Because they can't go back.
Yeah.
To like, they can't go back in time to have John Connor so he's the right age.
You know, I completely agree. When I saw this in the cinema, I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't keep up with the timeline.
Where's it stand in the pantheon for you, Steele? Because you said you liked 4. I think 4 is better than 3, but they're kind of like a bit wishy-washy in the same camp for me. I think 5's a bit better, but not by much. What do you think of the one? In your ratings of the, I guess let's go for the 5.
Oh, okay. I would go 2, 1, 4, 5, 3. Because
Yeah.
I love the
much
like
me.
before they go into the future, like it was so much fun. Like it was very Back to the Future 2-ish with like the alternate angles and stuff. But it was cool as fuck to like have those scenes sort of like altered and stuff. I thought it was cool, and how Sarah Connor was like had been trained in advance, like how they'd sort of like done that stuff. I thought that was super cool. But it is like this scene they're fighting, and there's the angle where they're sort of, it shows where they're running. It's like they're running into the camera, and behind there's all explosions and a ship crashing. That is a breathtaking scene. That is very good. But then all of a sudden, like they infiltrate Skynet somewhere else, and all the robots crash and stop. That is where we all should have known that this film was in trouble, because if you're starting your film the way The Phantom Menace ended, there's issues.
I have questions.
I actually thought that because I think when Skynet apparently gets shut down in commas and all the Terminators go "Pew," like the battle
That's
droids.
part of my notes.
How does that even work? Because if you sent a Terminator through the past where Terminators don't exist,
Dude, that's literally exactly
where's
what
its
I was
central connective
thinking.
like hive mind?
It's
They're
not,
independent.
It's not the Borg.
Yeah, it's meant to operate independently. Otherwise, what's the point of a Terminator?
Exactly. And how then, like you say, would a Terminator survive by going back in time?
Yeah.
See,
Ugh,
this is
doing
the
it
thing.
again.
This is why Star Wars fans are a little bit lucky, because we've got this one company that owns Star Wars and will always produce Star Wars, like whether it's owned by like George Lucas or Disney. And
also,
there's
it also
people
seems
that
like
hold
it's
the like the canon of the film. There's like, you know, there's this thing called the story group, and they sort of know everything and try to debunk it so it fits in. And with these films sort of bouncing around and different people making them, there's parts of the lore that are forgotten. And I think that whole it all just shutting down like the battle droids is it is goofy, because what do they need Siri or not? Because he goes back into 1984 and he's working pretty good.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It does make sense. I think we've discussed this ad infinitum as well. It's a bit like the Highlander series, that like you have one classic film, well, not a terrible second film. The Highlander 2 is like a mess, but like because different companies take on the property, then like you said, they forget little bits about the lore, or some writer wants to put his stink all over it, so it kind of loses sight of itself, and they're just this like patchy mess of a kind of film series. Cameron gets the rights back in 2019 though. So they have to make another film after this in order to keep the rights. I think it's Paramount and Skydance that now like own this. But yeah, it's a bit of a cock-up really of a film. Also, I think the Back to the Future guys pointed out that John Connor, the character, only works really as this kind of legendary messianic figure. So I think the bits before Christian Bale kind of took over the production wanted to be front and centre as John Connor. John Connor would have just been a disembodied voice on the radio saying "You are the resistance" to people just huddling around these little bits of like CB radios and technology. And I think they've never really got John Connor right, apart from Edward Furlong, because he's not even John Connor yet. I don't know. But showing him in action with his like well-fed well-shaved Jason Lewis, is it Jason Clark, John Connor face. I don't know.
Well, Kyle Reese, like compared to the first movie, like in this one, he's like he seems like a pretty enthusiastic UFC fan or something. It's just
yeah. I hate Joe Courtney. I think
he's Sam Worthington for this generation, isn't he?
Him.
It's so it just seems they're so off. Like this film, like Terminator. Like, how do you not make a good Terminator film? They're robots as humans that go back in time to kill people. That's fucking awesome. How do you fuck it up by having like the kid give the kid their own one person? It's the same person.
I think
Marty McFly knew not to see the own person. Like, how can the maker of this film be dumber than Marty fucking McFly?
I think if they should redo a Terminator film, they should go back to the horror element and make it just like this stripped-down horror film. Because I think
they need to sort out the cast. That is one of my main issues.
Amelia Clarke or Sarah Connor?
No, she's bad. I don't like her.
She looks a bit like Linda Hamilton, though, ish.
I've never even seen Game of Thrones, but anytime I see her, I just think Game of Thrones.
Wow, it's really entered the public lexicon.
Is she actually in Game of Thrones?
I just think that.
I don't know.
Is she not?
Oh, I don't know. That's the first I've heard of it, but it would be awesome if you just thought...
Amelia Clarke. Oh, no, I'm thinking of Amelia Clarke.
Yes,
oh, my God.
I'm just fucking with you.
Cunt. You fucking cunt.
Well, there's always next movie,
yeah,
Ali.
no, I think the Terminator...
I know.
Well, no, because like you've got Michael Myers, Freddy, Scream, all these like Leatherface. Terminator should be in that pantheon of like scary horror characters, and he's not because, like Steele said, they kind of the series has been diverted away from what it actually is. It's like a stripped down like survival horror movie kind of. The first one, it's just like this thing will not stop. It keeps coming after you with scary robot with red eyes, and then they kind of lose that, especially here. Like Arnold's like this grandfatherly, friendly. When he smiles, he goes, eek! Kind of, stupid. They've sanitized it beyond belief. It's crap.
Yeah, which is also, for a Star Wars fan, that's the concern with bringing back Darth Vader. It's just like, keep him mean, you guys. Keep him mean. But the sad thing about messing up these films, and I just want to give a shout out to all my neighbors that I'm screaming about Terminator at 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday. They're going to be loving this. The sad thing about messing up these films is because it's a time travel film, they can get made forever. Like they can continually be trying to send back people to kill John Connor at various points in his life.
I think they should get away from that. I think Star Wars suffers from that by making the universe so small. I think if Rey is related to anyone from the original trilogy, I think it's going to make the world even smaller than it is. I mean, they made that mistake with Anakin building C-3PO and all this stuff in the prequels. It made it so small, and it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, that was some. I always say that like, if you were at like a Star Wars thing, like in 1997 or something, and you said, "Hey, I reckon Darth Vader made C-3PO," well, you'd get the shit kicked out of you, and rightly so. It's a ludicrous thing to propose. But here we are.
What do you think of... I'm quite excited for Rogue One. I think that looks actually and feels more Star Wars.
Can we get away from Star Wars?
No.
Fucking hell.
I have to... This is Steele Wars. Come on, I have to ask him this one question. What
Listen, Ellie, I'm bringing a lot of new listeners to your podcast, all right? So just...
This isn't Star Wars Minute.
Yeah.
I know, but we switch them all in between franchises. We've done that with all Star
Basically, Steele, I hate Star Wars. I hate Star Wars. I think it's... Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Does that make your penis tingle as well?
You need to go back in time and change that comment.
We're going to do Star Wars
I'll
prequel
stick to my my Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone movies.
Well, you didn't really grow up with Star Wars. I think that's why you're not
I
hooked into
did.
it.
I did grow up with Star Wars.
Okay. Your brother really likes it.
My brother absolutely loves it. He used to watch those films. I don't know how many times a week. I would hear the same old music. I'd hear the same old...
Hey, do you want to hear a good Arnold
Hate
Schwarzenegger
it.
story or a semi-good?
Yes.
So, my wife is she's a model agent in LA, right? I go back and forth from Australia to LA all the time, and she like manages models essentially in LA, and one of her clients is Sylvester Stallone's daughter, and
Okay. She's a model?
yeah, she's like Sylvester Stallone's wife is stunning.
Jennifer
Yeah.
Flavin.
And
Oh, I'm gonna have to
every
Google her.
Saturday afternoon at 12 o'clock, Sylvester Stallone gets in a nice suit and gets dressed all nice and goes down to Beverly Hills and meets up at this old cafe and has lunch with Arnold Schwarzenegger every Saturday afternoon. And they
Oh my god.
and they
that's
just have the best
amazing.
time. I've seen...
That's awesome. I would love to go to dinner with those two.
If only they could have got their shit together in the 80s and not been bitter rivals, we might have had like a really good Magnificent Seven film.
Yeah, but they were like all banging the same birds, and there's that rivalry. There's the kind of I'm the alpha male.
Who's your better actress?
Arnold.
I think Stallone had it. I don't know. I'm torn.
Yeah, his family's pretty fit.
Yeah.
I imagine the crossover, the Rocky versus Terminator film.
Oh my god.
With Adrian as the T-1000.
Adrian.
In a little pet shop.
Yeah,
Standing
Sylvester
there.
Stallone's missus is really hot.
I've got a bit of a... To bring it again back to Star Wars still, there's a Star Wars sound effect actually in this clip. Did you spot
I
it?
did not.
Yeah, when the flying HK flies over their head in that shot you mentioned, as they're running towards camera in that epic battle scene, and it kind of like, as it's like flipping out, it delivers its final statement on humanity by like throwing out that Spider Terminator from the base of it. As the Spider Terminator catches and falls out of the bottom of it and like and poodles and spins around, it's the sound when Han Solo is in carbonite and the kind of the big claw goes and pulls him out. That's the exact
Really?
noise. I only just noticed it before we started the show. Yeah. If you go back and listen to it, you can hear it.
I will go back.
I'm trying to-
I'd do it now, but I'm listening to you.
Hang on, let's see if I can.
I think Ethan's gonna get it.
I can get it to work.
Now I'm interested. Have you watched like the original Terminator and the scene where he beams in to see how similar it is?
When he beams in, yes, I've seen this side by side comparison. It's quite different in places.
I thought it might be the actual same footage, but just kind of
Well, I mean,
high definition.
how they recreated the CG Arnold is just phenomenal. I really do. I think the one in was it the fourth one? That was a bit dodgy, but like this one is like, I think it's a remarkable achievement. I think they should get an Oscar for it.
The
Just
but in the original, does the ground disappear because it's sort of like this circle forms and the circle
No.
sort of eats a bit of the pavement? Does that happen in the original? I don't think it does.
It doesn't. That came about in the second one, where that kind of truck is kind of bitten away and you see the fence from the T-1000 arrives. It's called the matter annihilation sphere, and it kind of stops you from appearing in the middle of a wall. Like if you're a conspiracy theorist, that's what happened to the sailors in the Philadelphia experiment when the ship disappeared and came back and was stuck in the walls and the floor. No, they added it to Terminator. Well, they added it in 3 when he's standing in that nuclear glass when he appears in the desert before he goes into the strip club, and it obviously appears in this as well. I've always had an issue with it because if he's made of flesh and you're standing like a white hot dish, wouldn't you burn your little piggies?
Again, that's another one of those dogs barking issues.
It gives a fuck.
I don't know. I was going to say the guy playing the garbage man is a guy called
Chino
Ernest
Fats.
Wells.
I thought it was Chino Fats Williams.
No, the original, and like a callback to Kelly LeBron. Chino Fats Williams is the guy who goes crazy, insane in Weird Science. He's the garbage man from the first one. The guy in this one is a guy called Ernest Wells.
He looks like Trevor McDonald.
He played a cab driver in Jack Reacher Never Go Back, the sequel that shouldn't have been made. He's a morgue technician in NCIS. And he's a visitor in the Genealogy Roadshow, a TV series. Oh, and he plays Uncle Victor in Black or White, which is that Bill Burr, Kevin Costner family drama. Bill Burr plays like Kevin Costner's lawyer. He's battling to keep his adopted black daughter. Sorry, his widowed black daughter.
Steele, what do you think of the quality of the CGI Arnold then?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I was thinking I want to get a job at whatever company is making this Terminator film. One, just to tell them that the ends of all their films suck. Which I don't get how someone like doesn't read the end of that film and think about how angry it's going to make me.
Me.
Or just
me.
people like me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, nerds with money to go to the cinema with. But how good is this? This is my marketing campaign for Terminator 6.
Right.
You get stickers. Say in this one, like, just say there's tons of Terminators coming back, which would be cool. Like a lot of Terminators. You get stickers that look like the burnt, that sort of replicate that burnt look, and you just stick them all over town and say Terminator's coming. It'd be so cool.
That would actually. I quite like them doing that. They should do it in London. Terminator comes to London.
That's the campaign.
That's the campaign, yeah.
Jolly good. I'll be
Yeah,
back.
Just have him as a bit. Exactly. Either have him as like an English gentleman,
With a burnt elbow
or
sticker.
like a Cockney Terminator.
We should do that anyway. Jason Statham as the Terminator.
Yeah, that'd be so good.
Come with me if you want to live.
Yes.
You put a question on the teleprompter.
No, he'd say, "Please come with me if you want."
Cheerio, I'll be back.
And he kills people by
Toodle
throwing
pip.
hot tea in their faces.
Yeah. And choking them with scones.
What are your thoughts on Jai Courtney? Because he's like, for some reason, I mean, well, you said your wife's a model agent. We know the kind of like agencies, I guess, have power like in cahoots with film companies. That's the only thing I can think of when talking about Jai Courtney, because he's been put in these gigantic projects, came out of nowhere, just like Sam Worthington, and they don't really have that kind of charisma to burn screen presence that would warrant someone graduating to that level of kind of the ultimate expression of the art form, which is gigantic mainstream Hollywood films. What are your thoughts on the human carbon block called?
I just think that his casting is just it just signifies what's wrong with the whole film, is that you didn't like understand the first, like, did you watch the first film or not? Because there's no way that's the same person. All these Terminator films, except for 1 and 2, seem like different sequels they seem like sequels from different reboots. Because the John Connor character is always so different. Like Edward Furlong to whoever was in number 3. Like they all seem like like it's sort of like watching like Batman with Michael Keaton and then watching The Dark Knight Rises and going, yeah, it's all in the same continuity.
It's the same guy. Yeah. I just think beyond that, he just looks like too well-fed. Carl,
Again, we're just back to bad casting.
the Michael Bean thing, he looked like where they've been living off rats. It was at the end of his rope. This was his last like shot at redemption of some sort. You don't get that with Jai Courtney. It's like he's just been working out. He's got pecs. He's got his back's worse than his front. You know, I don't know.
Fresh from Mama's house.
What the Mine Lawrence film?
Yeah, he's too yeah, it's like
He's too like puppy. He's like puppy face. He's really fed well. His hair's cut nice and neat. He doesn't look like he's ever been in battle at all.
Having said that, he was good in Suicide Squad.
I don't think he was.
Really? Is that kind of like
just
bogan?
No, he just
kinda-
annoyed me.
No?
Just
he
annoyed me.
looks like a
What do you think?
Terminator that's gone back
Have you
in
seen
time
this?
to stop the new Abercrombie and Fitch catalogue.
Yes, exactly like that. God, Steele, your vision.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. I go back and forth on this one because I do like the first like half of it when they're in the past, like you said, but then he just goes awry. I'm not sure. Well, you got actually actively angry though about this.
I hate bad endings. Like, it's such a dumb, the ending doesn't make sense. Like, I went and saw,
Well, it's meant to be the first of a trilogy. That was the idea, and then Paramount have cancelled the second and third films. That's why it was meant to be a continuation. How, I don't know.
And that lying
But
sack
kind
of
of
shit
them
James
leaving.
Cameron came out and said it was good.
I know. Well, we think he was bribed. Either that or he was laced with acid. I'm
Well,
not sure.
no, I think he was high on the fact they just remade his film. He's like imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah, and then he has the gall to
And they
like
pushed
diss J.J. Abrams' Force Awakens. It's just like, come on, bro. Come on. You're vouching for that Terminator 5 and you're dissing on Star Wars 7? Come on. Come on. Come on.
Well,
Sounds
his
like
thing was it showed more imagination, didn't it, than the new film, the Force Awakens. Rather, didn't have as
Well,
much
it does take a lot of
imagination.
imagination to picture someone traveling through time to alter the future that's still... But how did he meet himself? I can't even think about it. I went and saw that Jurassic World, which had some amazing moments, but it's like the dinosaur did the trick where the old Western trick where you're locked up in the prison and you hide under the bed, and then the warden comes in and you're like, I'm under the bed, and now I'm out. The dinosaur did that trick. It was bullshit. It's just like you know, in the first Jurassic Park, like you made this park and the dinosaurs killed everyone, and now you just like you've got like, oh, we better build the wall bigger. This dinosaur's out. It's just like, what the fuck? Did you not remember what happened?
Yeah, I didn't.
And then
enjoy that
I'm gonna go on here. The pterodactyls like attack, kill everyone, kill the lady's like assistant. It's her fault. And in the next 2 minutes, instead of like going, fuck, I just got 200 people killed by pterodactyls, she decides to flirt with Chris Pratt. It's just like, what the fuck?
I know. Women, man, women.
No, people that write these
Listen, like-
movies, they're killing me.
That was Bryce Dallas Howard from the fourth film. I don't know. She always seems to play these like strange, thankless task roles. It's kind of weird considering she's Ron Howard's daughter. Ellie's not a fan of it. We had a face-off once between Claire Danes and Bryce Dallas Howard, who would I prefer in a sexual encounter, a liaison dangereuse. And I always came down with Bryce Dallas Howard because she had like a down-home mumsiness. And I thought Claire Danes, although she's a brilliant actress, was quite heavily featured in Magic Face.
Yeah, but between the two, I'd rather Vampire Blues with Claire Danes than Bryce.
I'd go for Bryce.
Bryce
My
is
line in the sand would be that Claire Danes has had sex with Ben Lee, so I'll go not where he has.
So I will go.
I'm not sure if everyone knows who Ben Lee is, but they used to be married.
I have no idea. Who's
He's a
Ben Lee?
precocious, very very confident musician in Australia that once proclaimed himself the greatest songwriter in Australian history.
Oh my god, he sounds like Kanye West. But he's the greatest songwriter in the universe. I'm a genius.
So, Steele, what's coming up next? Oh, sorry. I just Forrest Gump myself. I think it's the time delay.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Steele, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I should point out I like the bit. There's very good foreshadowing of, I guess, T2 when the truck comes down and he's sort of got that the dump truck's sort of got the same hook as the T1000 gets when he's chasing the car that one time.
Yeah. Also, I don't know whether you know this, but the time weapon that they drop into was actually designed by James Cameron.
Really?
Did you know this? Yeah, I say this in every show, and I think the readers are probably going to be screaming at me and give me angry letters, but I say it. James Cameron designed the time displacement section of the film, which is the thing we're seeing in this, and it kind of got cut out for time and budget reasons. They used the exact design in Contact. That's what the actual Terminator time machine actually is. Those spinning rings.
Okay.
So they've retained the section from the cut removed in the script Terminator 2, when they actually find the time thing and they see the Terminator go through it, etc. But the actual time machine designed by Cameron was stolen and used in Contact. So that's what that was.
Ah, okay. Hey, how do they go forward in time?
I don't know. None of that makes sense. I really don't know.
It's basically Back to the Future.
How do you think they go forward?
No,
in time?
I mean, like, how do they get the machine?
Well, Skynet designs this one because I guess it's a machine intelligence more advanced than people, and it
No,
learns
but what I
at a
think he
geometric
means
rate.
is if you go back in time, where would the time machine be? To
Yeah.
then go forward in time?
Oh God, I'm gonna have to watch this film again.
Cock up.
Well, it makes, I guess, a wormhole, and you appear in the same spot that it did. That's why you've got that matter annihilation sphere, which kind of like destroys all matter around it, because you reappear, I guess, in the same spot where that time machine is, but in the past. Whereas in Back to the Future, you've got a travelling time machine. So
Oh no, what I mean is they go back in time to 1984, right? But to go back in time, they have to get in this big dome thing.
Yeah.
So they go back in time.
Yeah, where's...
How do they go forward in time in
1984?
halfway through the movie? Like, do they find another machine? Like,
Well, yeah, Back to the Future 3 style, the way Doc builds that like time traveling train, Pops builds another kind of like Home Depot version of the time machine. I don't know how he does that and how a Terminator would have that inside knowledge, because Skynet wouldn't give all its Terminators that information. Otherwise, you'd, I guess, have some sort of mutiny if you had some multiple like.
yeah. Do you know what? Do you know what you guys have done?
What have we done?
No, you've made me. I'm gonna now have to get this movie and like hate watch it just to work out how this works.
Hey, watch it! Oh god,
That's right.
that's
I'll
amazing.
email it to you.
Just email it to me in 2-minute
You have to let us
portions.
know if your opinions change on anything.
Okay. I can actually do that. I do have it.
He
in
could actually do
2-minute
that. He
portions.
has all the different 2 minutes segmented.
I keep getting into trouble actually on YouTube because I'm actually putting the film up. I do like a Mystery Science Theater 3K style version of it, which you can watch with the clips playing. And I've been battling the copywriters all the way through the films up to this point. I've got good relations with most of them now, but because we've entered into this new film and because it's new, I'm having actually more trouble. So as soon as it goes up, they block it, and I have to send an appeal and send the Use of Fair Rights Act, fucking federal law.
Yeah, YouTube can be pretty
It's getting crazier and crazier. Sadly, I think. Well, these guys, the Nick Mason and stuff, were saying like they get their stuff shut down constantly, and it's almost as much a battle contacting these people because they don't give you the information to reach out to the copywriters. You have to kind of like discover it through all this like Google detective work, who to actually speak to, and they spend as much time doing that as they do editing and putting together their shows. It's a pain in the ass really, because you're kind of doing something in service and advertising their product, and we're not like, I don't know, doing anything bad with it. Or kind of like,
Yeah, I had a Star Wars one taken down, or just I had the advertising money taken away from me because I had some bloody like Star Wars music in it, and like Sony Classic like got rights, and like I have my own theme music, and it was just the guy that put the video together just didn't think about it and just put Star Wars music like not even much, like 20 seconds, and so now they get all those sweet cents. Enjoy it, Sony Classic.
Yeah, I think they did that with a lot of stuff. Anyway, people like create original material, and they put if it gets big enough, they put their ad breaks in it, and they, you don't get the money for that. They kind of like sneak it in there on people as well, don't they? So they're all as bad as each other.
I don't know. These people wanting money for the entertainment they produce, it's disgusting.
It is disgusting. Talking of entertainment, so what are the other podcasts you do, Steele? Tell the people about
Oh,
your
okay.
show.
So,
Like everyone knows more about your show
if
than
you
our show,
want
but-
to hear some of Australia's best comedians laughing at the complaint letters that are written to the TV Guide, I Love Green Guide letters. It doesn't matter that you don't know the shows, because I don't know the shows either, and that's part of the fun. The show, it's not about TV shows, it's about complaints about TV shows. That's the magic of that. And then if you like Star Wars and you like, funny shows like Terminator Minute and Star Wars Minute, check out the Steele Wars podcast. It's at steelewars.com. There's a show every Tuesday, which is an interview normally with someone that's like a fan or the cast or crew with Star Wars. And then on the weekends, we do a call-in show where we run through all the news. But it's all done in a very light-hearted way. It's kind of meant to be a podcast for people that maybe like own the DVDs and will go to the movie with great enthusiasm, but maybe don't like read Star Wars sights every day. It's meant to be more sort of a bit like lighthearted and funny, as well as we'll delve into some nerdy stuff, but we'll try to bring everyone along for the ride. We're not talking about the specs of the like a T16 or something like that. It's more about just why does Obi-Wan Kenobi not remember R2-D2? I mean, come on. The little robot saved his life about 14 times. Like, I don't care.
Yes.
This is the thing. People say, oh, but it's like R2-D2 is like a microwave. Well, if a microwave saved my life several times, I would remember that microwave.
Well, there we have it, folks. This has been a great episode. I do hope you can come back on again, Steele. I've loved every minute of this. We're going to do another... I'll try and find an exciting minute for you that you can vent
Hey,
on.
I loved every 2 minutes of this.
Hey.
Yeah, an Angry Steele Saunders is a good show. Makes you can of course find Steele. I'm going to put show notes, listeners, under our show, which both is on the YouTube channel, SoundCloud, and next week Podbean. So I'll link you to all three of Steele's shows. You can find us, of course, at 2 Minute Terminator on Twitter. You can find Steele Saunders at Steele Saunders. Is that correct, Steele? Let me just check my.
Oh yeah, on Twitter it's
Steele
Steele Saunders, which is STEELE, and then Saunders. And so I tweet from there, just normal stuff, and then for Star Wars tweets, it's at Steele Wars.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll link you all there, listeners and viewers. You can find us. Steele shall return, I hope, for another show. We had a great time. This is, again, part of our All-Star Week. We missed him last week. We've got to miss one. So thank you all for listening. I've been Ethan McKinley.
I've been Ellie Fitzgerald.
And we have been the 2 Minute Terminator. Hasta la vista.
Baby.
Watch out for machines. They're unstoppable. Watch out for machines. They will rule the world. I'll be back.